All right, football fans and curious minds, gather round. Whether you're a die-hard NFL follower or you just watch the Super Bowl for the commercials, there's a whole world of wild, weird, and wonderful facts about American football that you probably don't know. So let's huddle up and dive into some gridiron history. First off, let's talk about the ball itself. You know that iconic pointy oblong shape? We call it a prolate spheroid, which is a fancy way of saying it's a stretched-out sphere. But it wasn't always like that. Back in the early days, footballs were basically just inflated pig bladders. Yeah, you heard me right. They were lumpy, unpredictable, and closer to a round or oval shape. The reason it became pointy? The forward pass. In 1906, throwing the ball was legalized to make the game safer and more exciting. Players quickly figured out that a longer, more aerodynamic ball was way easier to grip, spiral, and throw accurately. So, the pigskin, as we know it today, was born not from a pig's skin, but from its bladder's legacy. Speaking of safety, you see those players in their high-tech, multi-million-dollar helmets? Well, the first helmet wasn't for protection from concussions. It was to protect a guy's ears, seriously. Back in 1893, an admiral who played for the Naval Academy was warned by his doctor that if he took another hard hit to the head, he could face instant insanity. So he had a local shoemaker craft a leather cap with ear flaps. It was designed to prevent his ears from getting all cauliflower-like and mangled. It wasn't until decades later that helmets became mandatory in 1943 and started evolving into the protective gear we see today. Now, let's talk about the biggest game of all, the Super Bowl. You know those Roman numerals they use every year? Super Bowl Live, Super Bowl LV. Ever wonder why? It's to avoid confusion. Because the NFL season spans 2 calendar years, calling it the 2023 Super Bowl could mean the game at the start of 2023 or the one at the end of the 2023 season. Using Roman numerals, like Super Bowl LVII, clearly ties it to the 1970 season, no matter which year the game was actually played in. It's a simple, classy solution to a potentially confusing problem. And here's a final mind-blower for you. Think about how much action there is in a 3-hour NFL game. All that running, tackling, and throwing, right? Well, according to a study by the Wall Street Journal, the amount of time the ball is actually in play, meaning from the snap to the whistle, is only about 11 minutes. 11! The rest of the time is filled with replays, huddles, players walking back to the line of scrimmage, penalties, and of course, commercials. It's a game of explosive, short bursts of action, surrounded by a whole lot of strategy and waiting. So next time you're watching a game, remember, you're watching a sport that evolved from a pig's bladder, where the first helmet was for ear fashion, and where 3 hours of television comes down to just 11 minutes of pure, unadulterated chaos. Kinda makes you appreciate every single snap, doesn't it? Music swells and fades out.